because so we will be doing this particular course late September or early October. We will announce the date, but I'm more excited to collaborate with Professor Nova to do a writing workshop, because one of the things when I'm looking at the students who are sending the documents to me, Devnil, right, like all others, Ashish, like I'm looking at some of the work, like I believe that a good academic writing course would help. A good academic writing. It's not like there are two writing workshops Nova do. I will collaborate with him on that, right? Which is one is academic writing, and another one is reflective writing. Academic writing is, say, definitely will say, for example, when you are writing for a research paper, how will you write? How will you write when you are in the university? It's slightly different. So, but when you are writing a college application essay, right? I was reviewing some of the work by others, right? I was discussing with him on how can you more reflective in nature, right? So we generally in India, we tend to, even our literature, if you look at it, is so there is no basic reflection. It is more about explanation, right? Explaining, whether you look at Ramayana or, I mean, one of the best work, Mega Sandesham, I don't know how many of you have read that. It is very, very descriptive in nature, but it is not reflective, right? The experiences of whoever the characters are not there, which is very, very important when it comes to university applications. So I will discuss with Nova and come back to you guys on an academic writing and a reflective writing workshop, right? So I have a lot of requests for that. So I try to bring that online. So let us keep watching. But another interesting thing that can happen would be, so all our courses, right, on student enrichment program, if I get the approval today, right, so I'm planning to bring in not approval, it's the question of whether I will get some funds to do all these things, right? If it is coming, like I want to do our prestigious student enrichment program, which is a credited program online, right? It is going to be a lot of work needs required from our side, but that will be a very strict course where there are requirement, reading, writing, assignment. Take it only if you can do that. So if that is done, that will be done by the Professor Michaela, Professor Sheffield, all of them will get involved. And if it is done, you will get a exchangeable university credit, not only a certificate, right? So we will. So I think we will start. How about that, Adam? Can we start?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So let me share the sound because I have something. Okay, I'm sharing the sound. Okay, I'm sharing the screen. I'm sharing. Okay. So Adam, please take care of anybody is coming, right? So we will. So
yeah, sure.
Today, today, like I basically want to. I mean, this is in conclusion. Like, I want to discuss one story, right? Like it is about like I will discuss several stories. One mainstay story which I want to tell is about Opal. Opal. This is a book. The title of the book is How Opal Got Kissed and Got a Life, right? It is a book by an Indian girl. I mean, not Indian, like she was born in Chennai, moved to England, then moved to US, right? So, and her name is Kavya, and this is Kavya's work. And she was we will trace her journey, right? And we will learn something from her journey. And then we will look at some of the other students' experiences and try to reflect on that. That is what we will be doing today. And this book would be available for you to read. Adam will be posting that on the course page. Please, at least the first chapter you will read. I have the first chapter parts here. This is the book, like, this. So basically, as I said today, like it's a story time today, right? So where, like, I will start with my favorite story, this Opal story, right? Then we will go to some other stories. We'll talk about some Korean girl. One interesting thing we will discuss is about a North Korean girl who defected from North Korea, traveled through Mongolia, through China, to China, ended up in South Korea, then ended up in Turkey, and then in United States. We will trace her journey. People who are so determined to go to a university, right? So we will take a look at her experience. Like, we'll look at some of my students' experience. Vaishnavi, we will take a look at, like, some of and another book I want to refer, which we will not discuss in detail, that is Ender. The title is a beautiful book. Again, it's a story of a young person trying to get into a top university. Okay, Siddiqui, go ahead. You have a question? Hello,
No, sir, sorry.
Siddiq? No,
Sorry,
okay.
it was by mistake, sir.
Say that again.
It was by mistake, sir. Sorry.
Oh, no, it's okay. 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 So we will look at some of so we since you guys are, this is mainly a course for students from India. Next course, I'm expecting students from all the part, and timings will change. So but I want to share some of the experiences I have with Korean students, Japanese students, and Chinese students, and we will take some clue from what they are doing and how they are preparing, and so we can reach some kind of a conclusion, right? So we'll to begin with, as always, we will recap a little bit. So we in last 5 sessions, sorry that I have been torturing you guys for last 5 sessions, almost a month. I cannot believe that a whole month is gone, right? So let us recap a little bit. Like, we were arguing for the need to prepare for the university, right? And for me, we learned that preparing for university is not alone looking for great scores. It's a part of that. We discussed about the intended outcome, but that we will recap that. We discussed about intended outcome is not only to get into a top university, but thrive in that university and complete all your academic requirement and graduate in high colors. That is the key thing, right? In when I say about preparing for university. And then we limited discussions we had on cultural issues when you are moving from one place to another. It has nothing to do with moving to United States. Like, when I moved from Kerala to JNU, I faced cultural issues, right? So that is a kind of things which is we have to learn when a student is moving from one thing to another, like one step to another. There are cultural issues. We discussed that. So we discussed in the first session, we discussed about how to use research as a tool. I'm so glad that people like some of you guys have even come up and submitted a research paper to the MA journals, right? I've sent it, a couple of them to Focus. One, I'm doing it for the thing. So I'm so happy if we have a trusted and excited few students. I'm so happy about that. I will encourage you to extensively use research as a tool, move away from search to research, not move away, but understand the difference between search and research. We discussed that. We discussed the possibility, okay. We discussed the possibility of developing a habit of leadership and use that in the university. We discussed several examples related that. We had a very extensive session on developing the intellectual capacity and why it is important and what does it mean, right? And then in last session, we had Prachi, we had Rujira ma'am, we had Amitabh, the CEO of Oxfam, and so they all explained to us like what does it mean to be an engaged citizen and how can you do that. So we discussed that, and the core, like all the discussion, one common thread I had is that, say, high school should encourage you guys to think about yourself as problem solvers, right? Think about and have develop some creative thinking thing, right? So core value in university prep, I argue, is that you need to be a problem solver and a creative thinker. That is one of the core values Mathematical Association of America and I have been Mathematical Association have been promoting for last 100 years, and I am doing it for last 15 years. What is happening with Megha? She's getting kicked out and coming back. Adam, take a look at that, right?
She
Adam,
might be having some connection issues.
Connection issues. Okay. Okay. So take a look at that, right? Okay. She is in Rajkot. She is traveling, it seems. Okay, so we will go to so we are again coming to this particular case story. This is a story about Kavya, and so Kavya is Kavya Vishwanathan, that is her full name. She was born in Chennai and spent her early childhood in UK and moved, but the parents moved to United States. She had a very interesting pitch to the whole thing, right? Whether so she was not only preparing like all of us going to a top university. She had one aim, right? When she was in the 4th grade, her parents wrote a plan, a detailed plan, say how to get Kavya into Harvard, specifically to Harvard. They moved. Both their parents made their career moves for that. They moved to England, they moved to New Jersey, started a practice there. Mother was, both of them are surgeons, right? Mother started practicing and not stopped practicing for a while so that she can support Kavya. Their entire life, entire family, mom, dad, kid, everyone, it was a written down plan from 4th grade onwards, how to get Kavya to Harvard, right? So that is and she did everything in the plan, and more than that, it is amazing, right? She participated in so many enrichment programs, like we were discussing earlier. We are going to do one enrichment program online with accredited course. She did 2 of them, and she were in, like we talked about, American Math Contest. She was qualified for AIME, from AMC to AIME, and she just missed being in American Math Olympics team, right? So that kind of a kid, everything she did, right? Everything. She was in Center for Talented Youth in Johns Hopkins, right? It's a very entire school career. She was in gifted program. In America, we have gifted program and non-gifted program. If you are a gifted student, you will be treated differently. You will be taken to a different school and trained. So she was in gifted program continuously. She was the chief editor of the newspaper. She was the vice president of her school council, science fair, everything one can imagine, volunteering. And she could speak 4 languages, Spanish, Mandarin. She learned that for her university application. So okay, Praveen, go ahead.
Sir, I want to know, is this a true story?
Say that again.
Sir, is it a true story? Is this a
I
true
did not
story,
understand.
sir?
He's asking, is it a true story?
Yeah, this is a true story. Yes, absolutely. The Kavya is a true story. Absolutely. But when she was in 11th grade or 12th grade, she's an amazing person. Don't get me wrong. Very focused, getting into the university in 12th grade. When she was preparing for the university with a counselor like myself, like, not me, right? Absolutely not, right? So this is back in 2004, I believe. Yes, 2004, 2005, when she was in 12th grade, and she got a book contract because she was a good writer. She published in Huffington Post, and so one little books got her to publish a book. That is the book you are seeing. In the book, the character is called Opal Mehta. That is the story, Praveen, right? That is fiction, but Kavya is real. Okay, so you might when you Google that, you will see a lot of things we are not going to discuss, because in her books, she plagiarized a lot. She even got kicked out of Harvard, right? We will talk about that in later, but I'm not going to discuss her plagiarizing issues or anything like that. I'm looking at her experience and her character's experience, and we will look at some of the things, and I want to have a discussion on that. But eventually, Kavya did get into Harvard, okay, but there was a story in between. So that is what we will discuss today. So this is the first chapter of her book, right? So I will read only few things, but everything is available, right? She is an amazing writer. You should read that, right? So when she, like any other young woman, like when in Howard, people get nervous. I get nervous. Berkeley Hall is a beautiful structure. Like, I don't know whether I can show you the Howard. Yes, this is the hall which she is talking about. You can see that, right? This is where she was. Okay, so I'll come back to that. So in that, like, you will see that she explains Howard really well. That is not our area of interest at this point of time. Her experience is more important. She is very nervous in Howard. She's there for an interview after all the preparation, right? So she is talking about that. You can see one thing here, right? Where how she is handling the stress, right, of the university. We all experience that. Even when I was applying for different universities, even when I was applying for my master's program in Syracuse, I was having butterflies. How many of you have experienced these kind of butterflies? I'm sure all of us. I'm not going to do that, but this is an old trick you play, right? So then you can see here, I'm continuing with the chapter where for her, this is her life, right? Like we are here, my dream school, my family's dream school, the college I had known, I was destined to attend since birth, Harvard, right? That is her mindset, right? I am destined to be here, right? This is my dream school, this is my family's dream school, I need to be here. So that is the kind of, you will see that again and again. So she practices the interview question as any very accomplished young student. She ran through the interview question. Tell me something about yourself. That's a typical standard. The question, she thought that Howard admission officer is going to. Then she had a stock answer for it. She practiced that. I'm an ambitious, I'm determined. I put 110% into everything I do. I don't like just being average. All this shit, all this bullshit, she practiced and practiced and practiced. I'm politically aware, I'm environmentally aware, I'm active in school recycling program. She practiced, right? Then into that mix, you should read that. I'm not giving the entire chapter. Into that mix, another girl comes. Her name is Valerie. So she is a cool character, right? I have it here, like in a, Kavya writes it beautifully about Valerie. She's a cool character, don't care much about Howard. This is not the end of the story. She comes to Howard for the interview in a torn jeans, and call me Val. That is what she says. Don't call me. I will kill you if you call me Valerie. Right? Typical American young woman, right? Call me Val, right? And she was wearing a T-shirt called Jesus is my homeboy, right? That kind of a person. So 2%, I would encourage you to read and understand and reflect on their journey. Very beautifully written, right? Then she explains everything. As I said, like from New Jersey to Chennai, from Chennai to New Jersey, her journey, you should learn that, right? And she had a plan, which is called, say, in the book, it is called How Opal Will Get into Harvard. And her parents, I don't know how many of your parents are like that. They have a written down plan and even short forms for the plan. How Opal will get into Harvard is HOWGIH, right? It is so funny when you are going through that, everything like, so then her parents, especially her dad and her, had completely learned and understood about the process. She was looking at, she had answers for everything, right? She thought that she had answers for everything, right? She was thinking that, oh, they are going to, so then she was expecting an admission officer. She says 70%, she had researched, right? She thought that she is going to be interviewed by a woman admission officer. My colleague Donna was actually there when she was there, right? Got interviewed, right? So, but she is not the person who interviewed Kavya. But what I'm trying to say is that she had that kind of a mindset to go into and discuss that, right? So, but unfortunately for her, it was not one of the women admission officers came. It was Mr. Anderson, who is the head of admission office in Harvard, right? She started tripping, right? So her plans were completely off, right? He was kind of, so he was, as she practiced on herself, like, this is going to be, she started thinking that, oh, he must love my resume. So she was very certain she absolutely has to, right? Typically, like, but Mr. Anderson, Dean Anderson, did not ask that question. So he asked, like, you seems to have a great resume. Good. What do you do for fun, Opal? That is the question. That question, when I was reading this book, I was stunned with that question. What do you do for fun? So they are not asking for all what we have discussed so far about research, about Harvard, about intellectual capacity, about leadership, about everything, right? So the question is, what do you do for, what do you do for fun? Your life is so full, right? What do you do for fun? That is what Mr. Anderson is asking, a Harvard admission officer. She started crying. The second question, she started internally crying, beautifully written. Then comes the next question. That is the most critical question, in my opinion, which is, why don't you tell me something about your two closest friends? She literally starts crying. In Harvard, she realized in front of Dean Anderson, she realized that she cannot name two friends, right? So she don't have, her entire life was preparing for this absurd dream of getting into Harvard. She lost their life, right? She was, so entire years she was thinking about Harvard. She was thinking about getting in. Everything was a plan for that. Doing this, doing that, learning 4 languages, everything. But in the end, she did everything. Then the admission officer is asking, what do you do for fun? And tell me something about your friend. And she don't have anything to say, right? So then, like, he goes on and on and on, right? So, but if you are, so she was talking about, I'm not going to read through everything, but if it is, in the end, what she tells her is, go and get a life and come back, right? So that is the message I got from the book. I got from her experience, right? It is more important not only seeing all these things from a very systematic perspective of, okay, do this, learn languages, learn some. She even went and learned how to weld. She can weld, practically she can weld. It is not like some of my students are doing like doing teach for India or something like that. No, she went to Red Cross camps and worked, built home. She did a lot of work, but at Harvard, she was challenged and she was asked to go back and get a life and come back. Well, that is the message. But the funny part of the whole story is this entire book is about her first part of life, how she prepared for Harvard. And then when Dean Anderson asked her to go and get a life, then it is so interesting. She and her dad start writing another plan how to get a life, right? That is so, because she has never been to a mall with friends. She never had makeup. She never had boyfriends or never had a life, right? So she had never had friends, leave alone boyfriend, never had friends, right? So that is also very important in your, I'm not saying that you guys go and get a girlfriend or a boyfriend, but what I'm saying is you're getting a life is absolutely important in your school life. Having fun is absolutely important, along with the preparing for the university, right? So that is the key thing. So any question on Opal's life? Adam, did you have the book up on the course page?
No, not yet.
Okay,
I have
okay.
I have the book cover up and the description up, but not the pages, I don't think.
Okay. I will send that to you. So it is available. It's a free download, so we don't need any consent or anything. So we can just post it, so it will be all right. Okay, anybody else have a question?
Sir, I have a comment. I think it's really important to have a balance in life. I'm actually really surprised that I'm really surprised that she hasn't had a friend. She hasn't had a. Well, but I honestly think it's super important to have a balance in life, because I wonder if she ever got tired of her life. So I'm wondering.
Yeah, like, so that is a great point. I mean, that word is very, very important. Thank you for that. Like, it is kind of balanced life, right? Your life should not be, you need all kind of experiences, right? So I'm not going to tell you what kind of experiences I had when I was in high school. That may not be good for you guys to learn, but you need to have so much experiences, have a life, which is absolutely important. That will come handy in the university. That is the core argument. So you need to be very determined. You need to be like very focused and person to do the intended outcome, as I was always talking about. I have next slide. I have some videos from Professor Dan. He also, all of us, Professor Dan Sheffield is my colleague, and he teaches in York, right? So he like, so he will be talking about like so hold on one second. Hold on one second, please. I'm trying to get it right. Sorry about that. I was asking my son, is he taking the car or not, right? So but anyway, so we go into the so we will talk about Dan a bit. He will be talking about the same idea from a different perspective, where the cultural perspective, right? So let us listen to him. If you have any problem, I think I have 3 videos from him. This is Professor Sheffield. Like, actually, this video was recorded from this place. You can see everything remained the same, right? So
You know, in education, we talk about intended outcomes. That is, what do we hope to achieve by the time a student has completed a certain course or a year of education upon graduation? What will the student be like? What will they know upon completion? Well, I'm sure that your intended outcome is to graduate with a solid, well-executed education, having developed a global mindset by learning to function in an international, multicultural environment, someplace beyond your own cultural upbringing. Well, this is the kind of educational experience that prepares a graduate for living and working to their greatest potential in this globalized world that we find ourselves in. So how do we get from here to there? This is my goal, a good education, a global mindset. How do I get from here to there? That's some of the stuff we want to talk to you about in this seminar.
Okay. So let me see whether I can. Were you able to hear him properly?
Yes, sir.
Oh,
Yes, sir.
okay. Okay, very good. So we will, so I think I will run one more video, then we will go to the next one. Hold on one second. I'm so bad at all these things. Hopefully this is the one.
What is it that Culture Shift and Transweb Global are bringing as unique components to this international student experience? Well, I want to take a look at this chart that we've got here. This chart helps us to get a feeling for what your first 6 months, first year or so of an international experience is going to be. Let me just walk you through these stages. First of all, you'll note here the honeymoon stage. This is where I'm so excited about everything that's going on. I'm traveling to America, I'm going to a new university, I'm going to make new friends, and you're really excited and you're hyped up about this. That's the first stage of the international experience. The next stage is that within weeks, there's going to be challenges that have overtaken your best intentions. We call this the disintegration stage, where a lot of the things that you imagined sort of start to disintegrate or fall apart, because what you're dealing with is really a major life transition. Psychologically, we need to acquire coping mechanisms and stress management strategies. We often talk about this stage as kind of a change fatigue, where there's so much going on that I just can't process everything. Most students will learn some coping mechanisms and start to reorganize themselves and move into this reintegration stage, which is the fourth stage of an international experience. And then as time goes by, developing a sense of independence and real confidence. That's usually about the end of the first year. Now, for Culture Shift, what it is that we're offering here.
So that's it, right? You know, so with that, so as his research shows that, right? You know, so there is going to be like all these research and everything will be available on the course page for you guys to look at. And this is true not only coming to America, if you go to England or move from Kerala to Bangalore or Bangalore to Delhi, all these things, when you go and start living independently in the university, challenges start in another place, right? You know, meet with new friends, how to cope up with all these things, how when the parents' support are not there, what will happen? So you need to learn. That is another aspect of there are cultural issues, there are preparation issues, there are financial literacy issues. Say, some of my students are challenged when they come to the university where they have no clue how to use money, right? I'm not kidding, right? You know, like I was also faced with that problem when I was growing up. My mother never allowed me to get into the kitchen. So I reached the Trivandrum Engineering College with no skills to navigate. Even through the colleges, I did not do anything. So to navigate, living alone, living independently, I had no clue. Every month morning, every month first I will get $100, 100 rupees from scholarship. Next day, that money is gone, right? When I was in engineering college, 100 rupees, a big amount at that time. That was a big party time for me. 2 days, the money is gone, right? I don't remember. Satish, what is that scholarship we all used to get? Narayana scholarship or something like that. 100 rupees a month, right?
Yeah, national merit.
Yeah. Yes, some national merit. I was a meritorious student, right? I got that 100 rupees a month. I remember third day, and my mother used to put the hand on his head. What happened to your money, right? It is gone, right? So we need to learn so many things in that, right? So now let us look at another student of mine. I'm not going to run through the entire thing. We are halfway into the my 1 hour window, but Vaishnavi is one of my students. This was a video application she submitted to Hamilton College. She was an aspiring writer. Since I selected her presentation only because she was she later she turned out she already now have a book published. So Hamilton College have a great writing program, and I met with her in Mussoorie in Uttarakhand in her college, in her school, right? Amazing young woman, right? She's a great debater. Let us take a look at how she prepared and what happened. We will discuss a little bit, right?
Betty, a 12th grader, anxious and curious as any 17-year-old girl, I admit. But I try to put on a bold face of an easygoing person. I thank Hamilton College for considering my application and for giving me this opportunity. I'm recording this video sitting in my room in Mumbai, India. I can see the Arabian Sea from my window. I can walk to Juhu Beach, which I do often with my brother and when with my parents. Though we are originally from another sea town in South India, I have grown up as a Mumbaite. I have my extended family here too. Here I am sitting making plans for leaving all these and heading to America to study. I did all my schooling here in Mumbai, except for my high school. For me, my years in an all-girl boarding school in a mountainous region of India is continuing to be a learning experience. I believe I have been able to mature myself well here. It did allow me to develop a clear perspective of challenges of Indian women, I sometimes think. My high school transcript does reflect my ability. I am a strong person in my languages and in literature, and working on my maths. I have a lot more to me than just that much in my grades. It's just a matter of knowledge and other aspects that I seek from Hamilton College. Outside the classroom, I like to swim, participate in debating competitions. I like interacting with different people and enjoy learning about their experiences. I'm currently compiling stories from around India, capturing the positive and extraordinary lives of ordinary Indian girls. In addition to simply voicing their story, I take part in it. I, in collaboration with several women empowerment groups, teach them the skills necessary to let them tell their own story. It might be possible to see this as activism or journalism, but I consider myself to be a storyteller who happens to have leapt into the stage herself. I am passionate and involved with these issues as a result of this perspective, and I hope is one I will pass on. I dream of teaching in an all-girls college. It's true I am inspired by Mona Lisa's smiles. I intend studying arts and science in North America, taking courses in literature, accounting, anthropology, women's studies, science, and philosophy. I plan to continue my graduate program and come back to India and teach and work here. I imagine myself sharing my experiences with my students and being a writer and a social activist.
So I'm stopping it here, right? For the short of time, this is a great presentation. 2 more minutes are there. Like it will be posted on to the, with her consent. I will be posting on to the course page. Take a look at that. And this is an opportunity for you guys also to practice. If you want to make a presentation on something like what Vaishnavi is doing, I would encourage, I'd be glad to review that. This is not an assignment, no assignments time in the last class. So, but take a look at her experience. And I would say that this was recorded in 2015, and she applied and she got in and finished and now doing a grad program. But anyway, so that is what I wanted to talk about one student. Let us go through. This is the girl I was talking about. Another experience, right? Of preparing for the university. She and her mother, not only, it's not like Kavya did. Her mother, they did not want to live in North Korea. They defected. It is an amazing. It is so this. She have a. You should definitely follow her vlog. Amazing. You should read her book, and her presentation in Switzerland, I believe, had 50 million hits on her journey. Right? So take a look at that. Google her and find out. And she attended Columbia University. And her journeys for 13, when she was 13 years, the park got out of North Korea, traveled to Mongolia, then to China, from there to South Korea, as I said. And in between, you won't believe her experience. She was captured by human traffickers, was sold as a slave for $300, right? All these things happening when she was like one of you guys, right? Going through all these things, and traveled and came to South Korea, to Istanbul, and from there to Columbia University, and did that. So that is her journey. It's not like Kavya, not like, okay, I want to somehow get into Howard, not like one of us, simpleton. She went to this struggle. But what is striking with me is, after all this journey, when she came to Colombia, this is her experience of Colombia. If she was saying that, if I thought North Korea is nuts, the North Korea is pretty crazy, but it is not this crazy, right? The Columbia University, for her, for Kim, for Park, this is more crazier than North Korea. The people, the passion, the energy, the division, all those things are there. Even her entire journey to the university did not prepare her for what she was facing in the university. So university, what I'm arguing here is, university preparedness are more than developing intellectual capacity, more than developing habit of leadership, more than everything. So many things. That is what we are discussing now, right? So I don't want you guys to think that, oh, I am in Delhi University, it's more crazier than being in Chinmaya Vidyalaya in Chennai, right? So another thing, so this is another young man from Yale, she was writing about again the Korean students, right? They're something like in Korea. I have experienced that personally, right? Their entire high school years is like Indian high school kids, focusing their entire life. Some of them are in Kota, Rajasthan, studying for JEE, their entire life, no fun, no life, right? So same thing happening with Korea, same thing happening in China. They have a system called college scholastic ability test, right? Complete. So without that, you cannot get into university. It's a very a tough environment they have, right? So, and after all these things, look at the data. That is what I earlier mentioned. Look at the data. All these students preparing, students like Kavya, students like Miss Park, students like Opal, students like anyone, like which we know, very determined. After coming to these universities, what is happening? 44% of the Korean Ivy League students quit halfway. Why? Right? That is the question you need to ask. We need to ask. Like that is not only to the Korean students, right? Dropout rate in Ivy League schools is actually, for American kids is 34%. For Chinese students with Chinese origin is 25%. And India is not behind. Indian students, 21% of Indian students in North America drop out midway. And so in our introduction class, we discussed about the dropout rate, the challenges in IIT, right? Remember that data. So I don't want the university preparedness is more about, look at what Vaishnavi is saying. Like, I'm very passionate about, look at that. I want to be a writer. These are the courses I want to take. Everything is clear, but still, when you go to the university, there will be challenges. There are more things you need to learn. Okay, one of the key thing in all these things is leading a life of a high school student, having fun, spending time with your friends, hanging out in malls, going to parties, right? Watching movies, skipping classes. Do that. Read books, read challenges. I'm not saying that do that quite often, but I'm saying is that's a part of your learning, right? So if you do all those things plus having fun and having enjoyment, there is every possibility that you will not be a number like, 21% of you will not be one of the 21% students who will drop out midway, right? So the preparedness is all about being a simple high school student or middle school student, having fun, having enjoyment, reading books, watching movies, going to plays, right? So whatever, fighting with your friends, right? Walking in the rain, whatever it is, whatever you do, right? Trekking, going places, being adventurous. Like, this is another book I would strongly encourage you to read. End of the title here. This was also a bestseller. This traces a story of another young person trying to get into a top university. It's written by Rahul. It's a very good book, good reviews, right? I would again, this title, I don't have the authorization to place the book onto the course page, but if anybody requires it, right, I can loan the book. Need to write to me, I can. That is the process we follow, right? But the Opal book is available. It's a free download. It will be on course page, right? So again, I'm trying to conclude. I have only 9 more minutes to conclude. After that, we will have a discussion for 10 minutes, right? So I present you to, I'm going to the original slides again, the research, the data, right? We discussed about intended outcome. So we discussed about the solid education. So if you want to graduate with a solid education and a global mindset, like from a global campus, right? You need to get accepted. You need to thrive in the university. You are not going to become a part of the 21% which is dropping out after halfway through the course, right? And achieve all your academic requirement and graduate with honors and go into the next level if you want to do that. And this can be done developing competence. Developing competences, developing your intellectual capacity, leadership ability, and research things, all those things. Above all these things, you need to be competent to be a good student, have fun, have a life, enjoy, right? So that is also very, very, very important. That is the message I want to convey. All these things are cool things to say. Oh, develop your habit of leadership. I worked here. I worked in Oxfam. I had this internship. I had this, that. Good. Everything is good. Oh, I had presentation. I got published in like Debnil. Now Debnil's work we are going to publish, right? So by the by, Debnil, your work is, even though I said like I did not understand, but it is so cool talking about black holes and things like that. That shows you a developed intellectual capacity. Good, very good. and be an engaged citizen, go around and work, volunteer, teach, do all those things. But over and above that, have fun, enjoy, all those things are there. Like I have 2 more slides, then I will open up for discussion, or 3 more slides. I am as per this course, I am authorized to give you the whole and code test. I mentioned that. I got 2 students request, right? Any one of you want to do a career interest assessment with me, please write to Adam, right? This is, I know that in India, it costs around 5,000 to 7,000 rupees in Mumbai. But since you are participating in my course, I am obliged to, I will be glad to do that for you, open, make use of that opportunity. One of the key thing in preparing for university, take a shot at everything. What will come handy, you don't know. If you want to do I know that couple of students, Praveen, wanted to do that, but there is a process in that. There needs to be a consent form, a booking needs to be there. But I will come to that. As I said, this week, this month is going to be really tight, but I will definitely find time to work with you guys one by one. Then again, we talked about the Red Cross and that kind of an activity as a tool to become an engaged citizen. And since you are part of my course, I am so TLPS, and we will be offering this first aid and CPR course online at no cost for you guys. Please make best use of that. That is a great opportunity. That will be an additional certificate you will get from American or Canadian Red Cross. If you want to get an American Red Cross, you need to be an American citizen, or you need to have a visa. But Canada is okay. We are a pretty multicultural in that. We are okay. We can train Indian students also. So that is what somebody like Adarsh, for example, he is an American citizen. He will get if he is going through this program, he will get an American certificate. It looks good on your resume, right? We talked about Oxfam, and Amitav specifically asked, he's the CEO. She specifically asked you guys to register for Oxfam Trail Walk in October. So this is a kind of a commercial I am running for Oxfam, right? So please join Oxfam's thing. So that will give you an opportunity. If you want to fundraise, you can do that. But I had a wonderful experience, and I am planning to walk 100 kilometers virtual trail walk in October. They have one in September, one in October. I am planning to do October. Few of my students are going to do that with me. If anyone is interested, let me know, right? Again, I have done it in all the classes. Your goal, what we are trying to do is go beyond the academic requirement, find out your passion, enjoy them, plan your high school years. Don't go as deep as Opal did, okay? But have a plan, okay? Decide on what you are doing and develop your marketing plan, have a research on, and you can start very early. So you remember Opal, right? You can start very early, but when you are in 4th grade, preparing for Harvard is too much of a stretch. But I would encourage you to start thinking about an university when you are in 9th grade. Start thinking. Don't do anything. In my experience, it may or may not be useful, but start that kind of an activity. 9 and 10, after 10th grade, 11th grade is your real work. You need to, in university prep calendar, we see that on 11th grade is when you really needs to peak in university prep. So again, as a last point, I added one more line: have a life, right? And come back. Like Dean Anderson said to Opal, have a life and come back, right? Okay. How many of you have a life? How many of you are very focused on Adam, did you have a life in Iowa?
Sometimes I did, sometimes I didn't.
Okay. What is the funniest thing you did in Iowa?
I think up the tree branches when the very big storm came here on August 10th last year.
Oh, okay, 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 wonderful. What about you, Megha?
Remember that?
Okay. What about you, Megha? Are you gone? Are you there? Did you do something fun in last few years? Are you doing some fun now? Are you having some fun?
Yes, sir. I'm in my cousin's place right now, sir.
Oh, wonderful. Very good. Anyone else want to chip in? What are they doing? I don't want to hear about, okay, I don't want to hear about Praveen, about your research or your thing. Tell me what you do
Oh,
for fun or sense. Okay.
so the most fun thing that happened in the past few years is when we had the school trip to Kitulgala and we went on. It was like an adventure, and then we were going, and then we were going, we were canoeing and we were doing the camping and a lot of fun stuff, sir. And we got to, and I remember when we were in the cabin with my friends, and then we were like hanging out.
Okay. Fun, beautiful. What about you, Devnil? You raised the hand. Go ahead. I don't want to hear about your black holes. Talk about your fun activity.
Okay, sir. Sir, about my fun activities, I mostly try to make Marvel Avengers costumes. Like I have tried many times making Iron Man's helmet and Captain America's shield, but they're all made of cardboards. And I love doing astrophotography, and I have seen to Orion Nebula and Jupiter, Saturn.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Anyone want to talk about their friends? That is key. Remember, that is one of the key questions, right? Dean Anderson asked Opal, tell me something about your friend. So that is a key question when you are not only in like in a, others, like if you want to talk about your friends, I would love that. So let me explain it one more minute, right? It is about like why that question is very important, right? You can know about a person when you are talking about your friends, right? Something like that, right? Not all the friends are good, but that gives you a perspective. So tell me something about your friends, Adarsh.
Yeah, see, this is before the lockdown. We used to like me and my friends used to go outside a lot. Like we used to go to malls and all. We used to go quite often. Then there was this time, like almost every time we used to leave someone in the lift, or we used to leave someone and we used to have fun. Like that was the main thing. Every time that was our main thing. Like we would leave them in the middle of
what
somewhere
happens
and
in
then
the mall?
meaning like there'll be
What
so many
happens? I mean, what
people.
do you mean by fun?
No, there'll be so many
What do
people.
you?
Then so we'll be just going. Then like we would have planned before only who we'll prank and we'll leave them in between. So we'll just leave that person in between somewhere, and then we'll secretly monitor that person and call him. So it'll be like really fun.
Oh, that is funny. Oh, that is really, really funny. What about you, Siddiqui?
Yes, sir. Before the lockdown, we had a lot of friends, and we used to go hang out, and especially we used to go to a tuition together. So after the tuition, we used to go and gather at some canteen, and we used to like collectively pay for it, and we used to have fun, sir.
Oh, fantastic. So I have one of my high school mate in this room, Mr. Santosh, right? Santosh, do you want to share some of the things we did in high school? Santosh is my colleague. We went to school together.
Hello.
Do you want to share something? Some fun we had in school?
I don't know.
Nobody wants to hear that, maybe.
No, I don't want to. Now I don't remember also. So.
Oh, okay. So he is old like me. So Satish, do you want to share something from your school years? Having fun, not what you did, not what your scholarships or anything. We want to know about something you did for fun.
Oh yeah, I think I think you know I think what we did in school and college for fun or other kind of things is what the only thing which I remember today. I don't remember much of electrical engineering or
Okay.
what was what was taught kind of stuff. So I think the umpteen number of trips which we took with our friends, maybe with very minimal budget and backpack kind of stuff, and staying in forest at night and all those things. I think that are the things which are really coming to my mind.
Wow,
But what we
oh,
studied.
that is
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah.
That is amazing. So I also share a lot of things like that. Like, I always remember few things like, what I remember, I remember one event always. I've written about that in one of my short stories where one of my friend, Thomas Jacob, his name is Thomas Jacob. He's now in Dubai. He's a banker. He's a big guy. And he used to bring, when he comes to the school, if he see a chicken leg or something like that, he will bring it and scratch on my back, right? I'm sitting in front, in the front bench. I'm one of these studious person sitting in the front, and he will scratch it with, imagine you are scratched with a chicken leg, right? Then I laugh and I will get hit by my Jesuit priest who was my teacher, right? Regularly I
Yes,
used to get, he will bring, yes, go ahead.
sometimes me and my friends, we would like go under the tables and tie up people's shoelaces. Like when I was
Wow,
little.
okay. Anyone, another thing which I remember continuously is what I used to be called in seventh grade, that stayed with me, like what you call your second name or your pet name or your funny name, right? It stayed with me, and I forgot about that after leaving the school. And when I started writing, when I started publishing, when I started writing so-called fiction work, then I used that as my pen name. It is called Balgu, right? So that is the kind of experiences which will come to you, right? So I would strongly encourage to keep that with you when you. So that will be that is your high school years, and your friends, your family, your experiences are your uh, uh, your solid foundation for your academic career later. And these kind of experiences are also important. But remember, high school, if you only have fun, you will not have intellectual work, you will not have research, you will not have anything. You will end up like a funny guy in high school, right? That is okay too, but that is a downside of the whole thing. I think I covered my entire thing. I think I can rush to the airport now. And I really enjoyed working with you all. I mean, thank you so much for patiently working with me on my course. And work with Adam and submit all the requirements to get a certificate. So MA Learning will be issuing a certificate. So and for a participating certificate, and those who have submitted all the assignment, and if it is graded, you will get a next level of credit. All those things Adam has given. Like Adam, can I run? If you want to explain a little bit further, you can hold the fort, right?
Yeah, of course. Like, wait, what do you want me to explain?
No, if anyone have go ahead. Like I can wait.
Okay,
go ahead,
okay.
Praveen.
Excuse me, sir. Important. Make sure you don't accidentally end the meeting. Just leave it. Unlike last time. So if you had to run, then make sure you don't accidentally end the meeting. Like last time.
Like last time.
No. Yeah. That's a great point, right? Praveen knows that. Like, I am so bad with all these things. I will switch off and run. Right? No, I am not going to do that. I have few more minutes. I have 10 more minutes. Like my taxi will come at 8:45. It is 8:37. I'm all ready. I'm all packed. And so I should be reaching the airport and getting in, and so that is why I'm getting. So anyone else, you have any question? Anyone?
If Jenny, sir.
Okay, I think we covered everything. So really, Rohan, thank you for saying that. Okay, looking forward for the next course in September. So I will torture you for another month, right? Okay, good. Thank you for that. And I would encourage you guys to post your feedback onto the GrainEd page, because I think my driver has come. I'm getting a call. So it is kind of because MA is going to look at the page today. My supervisor is going to look at, so give whatever but that will help. It's not giving a good feedback. What is that? What we did? What is the wrong thing we did? Give a critical review of the thing. So that will help MA and I to improve the courses and improve the things and deliver that. Thank you so much. Right. So I think my driver. Yeah, go ahead. Any question, Siddiqui? Go ahead.
Sir, actually, I have a few assignments. I've just completed them, but I don't know. Like, can I send it to you by email? Because can you please tell me what is the last day to submit those?
No, there is no deadline or anything, because I'm also organizing this course for the first time. Normally, next time I will have deadlines. Next time, I'm a very nutty professor, right? I'm very strict about everything, right? Coming to the time and submitting the assignments on time. Otherwise I will throw it into the garbage, right? If it is late, right? So I will be very serious next course. I'll have timeline, but this course, no timeline. You can submit it, you can take your time and go through that, and anything can be. Adam, can you post my email, or Adam, your email you can give. You can submit to Adam, or you can submit it directly to the GrainEd page, right? Go to the course page and submit the assignment there. And we are working on an opportunity where, like in the university later, we will have a private chatting opportunity, because Dan requires that, Michaela requires that in our course, because the students should be not public, confidentially directly submit an assignment also is required in a credited program. So we will figure that out, and I'm working with the GrainEd technical team to improve that. Okay, then I don't want to irritate my driver, so I am going. So I think we can stop, right?
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It was a great experience. Thank you. Bye-bye. So I am ending it, Ravi. I'm ending the meeting for all.